Welcome everybody to another great episode of the Crucible with Jeff Marshall. I say it every episode, but I really do think we have special guests who are here to share really deep stories with you. And so today is another special guest, Sybil Amuti. Thank you so much, Sybil, for joining us here on the Crucible.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome.
I'm so excited.
As am I. Look, I'm gonna keep doing this, kind of like the newscaster. Like the premise of this show is pretty simple. We talk about crucible moments or great failures that we've had and how they've impacted us and propelled us forward. And so there are a ton of folks that know you, and they have probably not only celebrated your success, but also naturally human nature is to put folks who have had some level of success on pedestals. And what those people who are then put on the pedestal always want to communicate back to people is that they're human. And so that's really what this show is about. But in order for the rest of our audience who doesn't know you to have that pedestal effect, I'm gonna need to read from your bio.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
So if you are one of those people who love hearing about yourself.
No, I need sunglasses.
Exactly. So this is the part where I tell everyone, get comfortable being uncomfortable for a minute.
Okay, let me just kick back. All right, go ahead.
There you go.
All right.
So Sybil Amuti is a multi-talented executive coach, strategist, and global thought leader. Sybil is the host and creator of the renowned The Great Girlfriends podcast. If you have not listened to this podcast or viewed this podcast, I implore you, especially women, to watch this podcast and join in. It is literally like having great girlfriends of your own in your living room. So let me just say that. On that podcast, she's built a thriving community of empowered women. With over 20 years of experience in brand strategy, business development, and leadership, Sybil has worked with global brands to create purpose-driven campaigns and that have lasting market impact. She specializes in helping individuals and businesses align their strategies with their legacy goals. She's also founded a few businesses, but really where her passion is with empowering women. She's dedicated to that cause by creating platforms and conversations that encourage women to live boldly and authentically. She's built communities that foster mentorship, connection, and empowerment. Sybil, you are thought of, maybe you don't know this, but the rest of the folks know this, that Sybil is thought of as a visionary leader who inspires women to challenge norms, embrace their fullest potential, and redefine what success looks like. Wow. You're a very strong advocate for building strong personal and professional relationships as the foundation of lasting success. And last but not least, about the Great Girlfriends podcast, you, again, I'm pumping this podcast because if I'm being completely honest, my wife is actually a big fan of the Great Girlfriends podcast. And it is a hub for candid, uplifting conversations about life, career, relationships, and even more. So given that you're known for connecting women in a global sense, I am extremely honored that you thought it not robbery to join us here today on the Crucible. So now that you're completely uncomfortable.
I'm breathing now. I'm like, wait, I can breathe now. I look good on paper.
Look, hey, you look great. I'll give you this paper after.
My shoulders out. Like, I like, wow, look on paper. I'm okay with that.
I'm not mad at it.
You left out my very important facet. My husband of 18 years, Kwaku Amuti, and my two teenage children, Samuel, who's 15.
Absolutely.
Dylan, who's 13. So, like, I got teenagers.
That is.
And they're alive and healthy. That's important.
That's big.
I have kept people alive for 15 years. I did that.
How are you with plants? You good with plants? No.
Oh okay. Man, we going there? Like people. I said people.
Okay, all right. Better people than plants.
Better people than plants.
No, that's great. Yes, absolutely. Kudos to, wonderful family that you have.
Thank you.
And we should have started with that, but I'm glad that you were able to add it.
I'm proud of that. So proud of that.
With that said, let's jump right into it. Let's, again, this whole idea is about we've had these successes in these different places, but what are some crucible moments? That's really what I want to talk to folks about. So I'd love for you to tell us about a crucible moment that has significantly impacted you in one way or another.
My God, I have had, Jeff, so many over the years that have molded me, the way I think, the way I lead, or the way that I kind of honor my life story. And I think it's important when I think about crucible moments, I think about these big turning points where you have the option to go left or right.
Absolutely.
And left oftentimes feels more comfortable than going right. You know, you like, I could just go over here and tuck and hide or whatever, but I'm going to make the choice to propel myself forward. I look at my life and I think about the last 20 years of my life have all been grace years. I've considered these years a gift, and I do so because the period that I was in prior to these years where I was depressed, I was suicidal, I had heavy issues with alcohol, masking, all after dealing with sexual assault.
Oh, wow.
That kind of sent me into a spiral while in college, while working on my master's at 20 at Columbia University in the city of New York. So I went from a HBCU, raped at 19, years of, just depression, denial, alcohol, masking, great grades, great child. My parents were like, oh, she's wonderful. She's probably at church today. Yeah, right. After the club, after after drinking, after doing all the things that I wanted to, after really self-destructing and looking for ways out, but I couldn't find them. And I didn't know how to articulate pain. I came from I'll give you something to cry about generation, right? So I always thought that having pain meant that you were going to get punished more. So I didn't know how to articulate, I'm hurt. I've gone through something terrible. I don't like living. I want to die. I don't like my life right now. I didn't know how to do that. I did know how to be the best daughter I could be, which was to get good grades, pray, love God, stay off the pole. Those were like the rules, right? So I knew how to mask. I knew how to pretend like all was well, but I didn't know how to honor my authentic self. And so my crucible moment came in 1999, where I was at a point where I thought it was the end. I had made my final decision. I said, this I can do. I can make my exit. I don't want to be here. I don't think I'll be missed.
Oh, wow.
This pain is just too unbearable. And it's going to be easier. This will be easier on everyone than for them to have to endure helping me like heal if there was even an option. I just didn't even know. And I was like, and I'm pretty sure God is upset with me because I have fornicated, I have partied, I have been drinking. All the 7 deadly sins, I probably knocked them all out. Like I am top tier sinner right now. So I'm like, God's upset with me. My parents will be terribly upset with me. And in that moment, I would say there were a number of moments, but there was one particular moment where, and I had written the notes, the goodbye. I wrote notes to my mom and my dad, and I was thanking them. So here come the tears. I was thanking them for being the best parents, for honoring me, for loving me, giving me everything. But I didn't know what to do with it. I was like, I don't even know what to do with this thing. So I just want to thank you. It's not your fault, but I'm gonna, this is gonna happen. And I remember I was driving to an ex's house and thinking over like my plan. And I could hear like almost this voice. I wasn't clear about the voice of God or any of that because I didn't have that relationship with God. He was very much over there and I was very much religious. God was just there. And so, but I remember thinking and going, I don't want to die necessarily. I just don't know how to live. I really don't know how to live. I don't know what living looks like, but I don't know how to die. So I'm sitting at that crossroad and there was just this yearning that rose up in my heart of like, live, like you can live. Living is an option. Love is an option, like healing, all these things were an option. And I couldn't articulate what I was feeling at the time. At the time I was angry because I felt like, no, you're trying to disrupt God. You're trying to punish me more. Like all of this is punishment, but it wasn't. It was literally my lifeline because again, that one statement or the sentiment in my heart was, I don't want to die, but I don't know how to live. And so the crucible moment for me was that particular moment where I made the choice after, it was a sweet whisper, Jeff. And if anyone has ever, heard the voice of God, or if anyone has ever been in intimacy with God, then you know that there is a whisper that can happen. And I felt like I had been getting yelled at before, like maybe I was getting fussed at by God or what I thought was God. But I started hearing, I love you.
Oh, that's
You are
powerful.
loved. Like, I love you.
Yeah.
And it was irritating to my flesh because I was so angry. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, you don't. If you love me, why would you let
Why would
someone
all this
rape me?
stuff? Yeah.
Why would you let someone do that to me? I didn't deserve that.
Yeah.
But I kept hearing that I love you, and there was something resuscitating about it over and over again. It gave me breath, it gave me life, and I felt like I never stopped hearing that. But that was the beginning of me going, well, what else does God want to say to me that I've been ignoring because I've been too afraid to build relationship?
Yeah.
So that was the beginning of me learning how to love myself, learning how to love God in a way that honors my authenticity, and learning how to lead with love.
I love that.
And making the choice that that is the way that I'm going to move. I don't know a better way because it saved me. I wanted everyone else to experience that. I'm like, yo, Jeff, have you heard about love?
Yeah.
Are you loved? Like, is love, like, are you feeling it in your life? If not, I want to make sure I can give you something to eat off of because I know that I am not the only woman who's gone through sexual assault and didn't report it and live with denial and guilt.
Yeah.
I'm not the only one who's thought of suicide and who's dealt with depression, right? I'm not the only one. So I know that these are real pains that people are living with.
Yeah.
And I feel a responsibility to help activate love in their life because I'm on the other side of that. Yeah.
So in that moment, like you found the deeper purpose of your particular being.
Absolutely.
Right. And it's, I think that's very powerful.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine in that moment how powerful it was for you, but also to have listened to the voice that was whispering. I can't even conceptualize exactly how you had the wherewithal to do that. Tell me about when you first started getting into this space of recognizing your purpose, following that very, very severe crucible moment. What were some of the things that you had to tell yourself or that you had to do to kind of, because it's not a quick switch, right? It's like that moment happened, but there had to be moments after that where you probably had some of those same thoughts. So how did you then pick up from that whisper and begin to actually move forward?
Yeah. What's interesting is in that moment of hearing God's voice, and it's spooky. It's very spooky. It's very creepy, especially when you're a teenager and you're I thought that was for the prayer warriors at church. Like, I didn't know that was about it. Any one of us could have that.
Yeah.
It was spooky, but I felt like I began to understand that's how desperate God was to love me, to chase after me, to like come and get me, rescue me. And so I began getting more. I'm a naturally curious person. I would advise curiosity to any and every person that's watching. Ask questions, and don't stop asking questions, and don't stop digging the earth. Like, don't stop exploring, because the more you explore and ask questions, the more you get revelation about all the big whys.
Yeah.
So for me, I just began asking questions. Not just like Sybil, asking Sybil questions. I didn't want to know more about me. I was good. I was like, I don't want this. I want to understand how I'm supposed to fit in this big picture of life. How do I fit now? Like, a broken, flawed, I'm educated, and I knew the things that I had on paper. I knew the things that I could present, but the interior was so wounded. I was like, how do I fit in this larger life? So for me, I just started asking more questions. And I've always been a person who, if I find something good, it could be salt and vinegar chips, Jeff. I'm like, I found the best salt and vinegar chips. You need to know about them. I'm going to promote these chips. Everyone have these chips. So when I found out about love, I was like, again, I just became this person who was just passionate about, like, did you know that God loves us? Even if we go through pain, I began to start talking to people about what I was discovering along the way.
Yeah.
And I began to meet other people who were also discovering or not, or we're saying, you know what, actually this happened to me, Sybil. Don't tell anyone. Yeah. But now I'm starting to think about the way I see myself. So I realized that even in pain, you can hold a mirror to someone else and it can be healing.
Yeah.
I thought you had to hide those things. But in this new relationship I had with God, I realized that the more you reveal them, the more you unlock them, the more healing becomes available, the more purpose becomes evident, the more passion your life gets filled with, the more community you connect with authentically, the more safe spaces you have.
That is absolutely.
And that's been a 20-year progression of me. It's a miracle that I'm here. Yeah. A full miracle. It's a miracle that I love myself. Like, that's a whole miracle. I wake up every day like, girl, you still love yourself. That is what's up. Like, because I remember where I was.
Yeah.
It's a miracle that I'm married to a husband that I love. Like, I want to love. But it's also a progressive realization. I have been putting in work.
Yeah.
I've been putting in work. So that's it.
I think honestly, that's the key to almost any of these crucible moments that we go through, is there is always going to be work to be done on the other side. A lot of us, many times, and to your experience as well, we end up, unfortunately, in a place where we're wallowing in the pain or the hurt of that moment. And it's really hard to recognize that it's a moment. Yeah. It's not meant to be a long lasting thing. The intention, at least God's intention, if I'm allowed to take some liberties and try to express what I think God's intentions are for us to move through those things.
Yeah.
And then share them, because to your point, there are other people who can't grow and will not grow if we don't share the thing that makes us unique to this world. I'm going to paraphrase, but at the end of some of my leadership workshops, I tell people all the time about why they're here on earth. And I say, you're here because you have a unique purpose and a unique gift. And if you don't share that gift with the world, it doesn't get replaced. And we, the universe, have to go on never having benefited from the promise of that gift.
Yeah.
And so your story specifically talks about that. It's like, there are so many women that have been impacted, many you'll never even know, but just from your sharing a story like that, and then just from your going on and finding love and peace, it's such a necessary it's a necessary thing. And honestly, if we're being honest, it sucks that you had to go through that. It sucks that someone obviously would rape you. But I am grateful that you heard that whisper and that you followed it. And I think that the world, if we're being honest and not over dramatic, is better for it, because we wouldn't have you here to express those things. If there was, so I say all that to say thank you so much for sharing. If there was one thing, two things, give you some liberties, however many things you wanted to. But I definitely want folks to walk away, if they haven't already. If you haven't taken something from this conversation yet, you're probably not listening. But I would love for you to drop a gem or two on the audience and say, hey, when you walk away from this conversation, this is what I want you to glean from the crucible moment that you will have. It may not be as severe as this one, but for you in your moment, it will feel severe to you.
Absolutely.
So I'd love for you to kind of just share, like, when you hit a crucible moment, I want you to take this thought with you.
Few things. So when you hit a crucible moment, I think it's important to not compartmentalize your life. Don't separate the person from the profession. I think that the person who you are deserves to show up in whatever stage and space you're in respectfully, right? And I think it's important in a crucible moment to honor where you are. Be honest about where you are so that you can make the appropriate shifts when you need to.
Yes.
I think what happens when you are able to honor where you are is that you then become aligned with people who are meant to support you, advocate, mentor, nurture, guide you away or out of that crucible space, that moment, that feeling, because it's pressure packed.
Yeah.
So I think that's very important. I know that as professionals, we like to button up, zip up, show up, but we're humans inside of these suits and dresses and meetings and Zooms. And, we're humans. We're having human experiences, and we need to offer ourselves tenderness.
Yeah.
Like, this needs to be the most tender space I have. And then other people get to be tender to me, but I have to offer it to myself first so that I can know how to receive it and also can nurture it in other people. So I think that is very important for us. I also think we have to remember in crucible moments, and it's not just crucible moments, Jeff. I think that life offers you invitations and opportunities, right? So in these crucible moments, you have both.
Yeah. Okay.
It's an invitation to learn. There's always an invitation to learn.
Yes,
There's always an invitation to gain. There's always an invitation to grow in wisdom and insight. Always. And there's always an opportunity to make new choices. Always. I get to choose. I can't choose the rape or the rapist. I can choose how I respond to the circumstances that come my way. I can choose how valuable these moments are, monumental they are in the larger scheme of my life. My legacy is not going to be about the fact that I was raped. My legacy is going to be about the strength that I utilized to overcome the experience.
Love it.
So I think it's important for us to understand we get invited into moments all the time. We're parents. We're married. We're citizens of the world. We're voters. So we've been invited into a number of moments that are there to teach us things. We then have an opportunity to choose how we respond, and that's the legacy piece. I won't take on the legacy of the people who have hurt me or put me down or decided they don't like me or whatever. I choose to take on the legacy of how I respond.
I love it.
How I'm activated. That's my power.
Yeah.
I'm not giving that to anyone else. So regardless of what the crucible moment is, I have to remain steadfast in my power. My power is how my values show up in my character every day. Even when I make mistakes, how do I recover?
Yeah.
Like that's my power. And those are the opportunities, invitations, opportunities. If we can understand that we're going to get those every day, today, every day, every moment, in the back of our head, there's these things that are going on. Our power is how we respond.
Oh man, I love that. I would just stop it right here if I could, because that's literally the perfect.
Oh yeah.
I love that idea, invitations and opportunities, and I haven't had it put to me that way.
It's one in my book.
Oh, there you go. Invitations and opportunities. Yeah. You'll read more about them in Sybil's book soon to come. But thank you so much for blessing us with your presence. I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I would love to go longer, but we can do that at dinner or something.
That's right.
But again, another phenomenal episode of The Crucible. Remember, every day you're going to be hit with these invitations and opportunities. And at the end of the day, what you do next is really the thing you can control. And I wish you well in controlling that thing that you do next in the crucible moments that you have to come. Thank you once again, my friend.
Thank you. I'm so honored. I'm so grateful.
Oh,
I'm so proud.
No, trust me, the honor is all ours.
This guy is the truth. I love what he's built. I love where it's going. I hope you subscribe, like, share, do all the things, share with all your friends. Let it be your conversation piece over dinners, holiday, all the things.
Thank you. To that, I'll say, I'm Jeff Marshall, and this is The Crucible.
You good, bro. You good, bro.
Thanks so much for watching this episode of The Crucible with Jeff Marshall. If you would like to be a guest on the program, let's be in touch. And be sure to stay connected with us through your favorite platforms. The Crucible with Jeff Marshall is part of the A Live Podcast Network and can be found in audio-only format wherever you listen to your podcasts.